Right then, packing punches. We're back for our second episode with me, Ben, Scott Finley, and Robbie Davies Jr. How you doing this evening, sir?
I'm good, boys. All right.
Yeah, Scotty, how you doing, mate?
I'm all good, mate. All good.
What a privilege to be joined by.
You look like he's in like a cockpit there, like a pair of pilots.
Yeah. Cock pilots is probably about right.
Yeah.
Robbie, mate, we'll get to the elephant in the room with you, of course. How is your foot?
Do you know what? Considering it was 4.5 weeks ago from now, like I've just done a spinning session there. Like that's how much I've moved along. Yesterday I was in some mad it's like a machine that lifts the air out here so you can run on a treadmill. Like because I've had like a top professor who done the operation and he's put me in with like a top physio team. Like the other day I was in there just talking to a gang of lads who were in there. Didn't even know they all played for Aston Villa, and I'm just talking to them. Didn't even know they were footy players. I was like, oh yeah, chatting away. But definitely more along than what I thought I'd be at this point.
Was it clean break then?
My fibula snapped in half, and then I done multiple tendons and ligaments on the inside. Like, could have went one way or the other. Could have been career ending, or it could have been like this. And touch lucky of because what it was, I got sent home that night just from the hospital in a normal cast, and then early hours in the morning I got sent home. And then a couple of hours later, about 8 o'clock, they said there's a professor that has a cancellation in triage. If you're willing to come back up now, he'll operate on you. So instead of me waiting 10, 12 weeks, I was like, I'll come up right now and do it. So the ball just got rolling straight away from the very next day, really. So I was lucky in that sense.
Cool. Scott, we were saying the other day, I spoke to Robbie earlier, the decision, absolute joke, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a joke.
I'm still going on about it now with the board. Like, it's all right saying he knocked me down in round 2, but in round 3, we were a good 2 feet away from each other when the punches were thrown. No one landed. It was just me stepping back and I fell over. So at that point, in any fight, in a contest, if a fighter falls over, the referee just stops, stand up, wipe your gloves, tells you to box on. I just fell over, and the referee, who has a clear view, because you can see from the video footage, began to count. And I just don't see why he starts to count. At this point, I'm not looking at him. I've already turned over to my corner and said, it's broke. They waving the towel. So he should have went down as I was retired. Do you know what I mean? Regardless of what went on, like in the other rounds. Can't get TKOs if you don't get it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It was you took the knockdown, but you can tell when a guy's got a clear head, and it was obvious you had a clear head, so like that shouldn't have been a thing.
While he's counting me, before I knew my leg was broke at this point, I'm standing up and the referee's counting at me, but I'm looking at him, laughing, going, good shot, as if to say, you got me there. But I'm already in my corner, so as the referee says, the bell goes, and he goes, yeah, go on, back to your corner. I turn round and I'm already in the corner with Shane and that, and I'm like laughing but saying, you bastards, to myself. And then Shane goes, you all right? And I go, yeah, just shouldn't have got it with that. And then Shane goes to me, how's your ankle? And I'm like, my ankle? What do you mean? And he's like, is it all right? I was like, yeah, sound. So from his angle, he must have seen me go over on it. But at this point, I haven't even noticed anything, because adrenaline must have just kicked in straight away. And I sit down on my stool, and Shane just starts talking to me, giving me a sip of water, giving me instructions. And then in the middle of the instructions, I just start feeling this hot warmth just wrapping around my leg. And I'm just like, what? And I interrupt Shane and go, what? I can feel that now. And then the clapper goes for 10 seconds, and I stand up. He gives me a swig of water, and he goes, you all right? And I just go, I'll tell you now. As if to say, I'm going out anyway. Do you know what I mean? And then I walked out to the middle of the ring. We start sword fencing. And then he throws a jab, I glance it, it touches me, but as I'm tilting off it. And then he just throws a hook, just like a rangefinder, not to actually try and hit me. And as he throws the hook, I just lean off just to make sure in case he shoots in or anything again. And as I've done that, my leg just folded underneath me. And honestly, I've never broke a bone in my body, like beside my hands and stuff like that. But even though I wasn't like filled with pain, I knew it was broke straight away. Like I fell to the floor and I just like rolled over to Shane and was like, "It's gone, it's broke, it's broke." And they were like, "What?" I was like, "It's broke." I don't know how I knew. I just knew.
Yeah, you could see quite clearly on the TV. The angle was just.
I obviously I hadn't seen that, so I hadn't even seen my foot bends and all that. But I was just thinking, "Wow, this is broke. This I've never felt like this before."
So do you think you'd kind of done some damage in the previous rounds?
Yeah, because of the way he hit me. Don't like if you get it with a shot and you get wobbles in your foot and then you go down.
Yeah.
I was leaning off a lot of his shots. So as I was leaning off and he shot in and he hit me right on the button, I've like shot to the floor, rather than like wobbled and fell over. It's like he's grabbed my head and threw me to the floor. Do you know what I mean?
Did you move into it rather than coming away?
No, I tried to lean off it and he's hit me right on the button. So like my weight's just gone completely dead on my back leg. And my back leg, the way it was like shaped rather than on my toes, it was like flat footed on the side. It just went straight over on the side of my leg, which obviously caused me fibula, which is your outside bone, to just snap underneath me.
Yeah, well, like you say, you got in with the doctor quickly, got it sorted, and 4.5 weeks later on a spin bike, that's incredible.
Yeah, so I think it's just more determination than anything. Do you know what I mean? I was hoping to get back as quick as I could to get the rematch sorted, but I seen the other day he's been ordered to fight Cattle now, which was disappointing. Do you know what I mean?
Has he? That's it, because in Cattle fight in a couple of weeks at the end of May.
Yeah, that's who he's fighting. Yeah.
No, he's fighting Foley.
Yeah, he's fighting Foley. Yeah, because Foley had it in his contract. He had to fight within a certain amount of days or a certain amount of date by a certain date. So it worked out good timing for him and bad timing for me. But honestly, the way I feel at this moment, like regardless of the outcome, like because I do expect Jack to beat him, maybe on points, I still want the rematch myself. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So he can use me as a lifeline now, to get himself back in the picture. Which I'll say to him when he gets beat by Jack, I'll say like, "Well, you've got your lifeline against me now to get yourself back in the picture. And this time round, I'll just hopefully do what I was meant to do in the first one."
Yeah, I should think so.
When obviously the break happened, Foley's off jumping around celebrating. It was a bit of an odd reaction from himself. But what was he saying to you while you're sitting on the store? I mean, you look quite calm after someone who's just broke a bone, but he seemed to be like saying a lot of stuff to you.
When he come over to me, to be honest, to be fair on him, he went, "Fucking hell, Rob, I didn't know you. I didn't realise it was so bad. I've just been jumping all over the ropes like a twat." And I started like, normally that's something I'd find funny, but at this point I'm vague. Like I'm not fully taking in what he's saying. Like it was about 5 hours later and I realised what he was saying to me. And then he said, "No one wants to win. No one wants to win like that. I'll give you the rematch. I'll give you the rematch." He said, "If you're ready in 3 months, I'll give you the rematch." And only now I realise why he was saying that, because he's had in his contract that he needs to fight within so many days. So if I would have been better by the time the Cattle fight is, he probably would have fought me. But unfortunately for me, rather than rush something like this, I'd rather be getting back in 100%. So it'll take me a bit longer than that. Do you know what I mean?
Mm. That's good that you realise, because we did call out on the last episode bad form, didn't we, for jumping on the ropes? But if he realised that he'd done it.
To be fair on him, like there was a bit of, I think he's a fighter like myself. You like that bit of needle before you just get in the ring, get you up for it. But I think he's pretty real enough to like see what went on, and I think he will give me the rematch, like I do.
Yeah, lovely, and he should be shitting his pants as well.
Yeah.
So Rob, another piece of news that's come out in the last couple of weeks: a stablemate of yours, Ellie Scottney, has had her fight removed from the Cameron Taylor undercard.
Yeah.
What do you know?
Do you know what? Like, without going into fucking any inside goss or anything like that.
Of course.
do you know what, like I'm training beside Ellie all the time, and I'm quite close with her as a friend as well. Like, so I speak to her a lot more than probably anyone else in the gym. And the way you've got to look at it from Ellie's scenario is everything, like literally everything that's going on in this whole scenario is nothing to do with her. Like, the arguments that went on between Chantel and her last team, which is now our team, the people involved of not wanting the team at the card and things like that. They want them removing on the card. But in the back of all this, everyone's completely happy with Ellie being on the card. It's just, can you imagine being in your first world title fight and someone's like saying, well, come to it, but you can't have your coach with you? You know, your first world title fight, in my opinion, you want everything to be perfect. And you don't even want something like that looming over your head while you're going into such a big fight, because she knows as well as I do, the fight's no gimme. You don't get given these world titles for nothing. I think it was just more of, and she was meant to fight a bit before this fight, and something was fight was delayed, or a fight that was offered to her a date, it was too soon. She couldn't make the weight in time. Then that fight finally got nailed on, and she literally said to me, like, numerous times, imagine I got to fight on the Katie Taylor card. And I'd be like, oh, I'm getting ready to make sure I'm paid one of the flights. I'm in one of the rooms. I'm coming. I was like, we're making a week of it in Ireland, or all that. We literally, like, she manifested it, like she'd said it that many times. And then all of a sudden, she was looking for a date for when this fight could go on. And a deal was done with Shinnick Johnson and his team that because it was on neutral territory, it was in Ireland. She's from Australia, Ellie's from England. It was going to be in Ireland. They were happy with it. Ellie was happy with it. And of course, like, Katie Taylor's like someone who Ellie's looked up to since she first started boxing. So everything was just like, we were like, wow, what are the odds of that after you wanting this fight on this card, and now it's happening. And then, like, a couple of weeks later, for something that's completely out of her hands, for it to just swoop from under her nose, really. And because I'm so close to her, like, I seen how upset she was and stuff like that with it all, do you know what I mean? And it was unfair in ways, do you know what I mean? But I'm glad everyone could see it for the way it was. But all the other stuff, and for the reasons and all stuff like that, it was basically, it was stuff that I'll never know, because I was never in the gym at the time. I don't know what went on. I know there's legals involved and stuff like that. So,
the fact that NDAs were mentioned means.
Sorry, say that again.
Well, the fact that NDAs were mentioned, people signing non-disclosure agreements, that's got no place in boxing. Not when it's coming down to someone's world title fight. Yeah,
it's just like when you're so close to a team and you know they fell out with someone else, like, you know, when you fell out with someone in someone yourself, like, it's always going to be your words against his, isn't it? So you never know who's what, because you weren't there. So the only thing I was bothered about was for how my friends was feeling. Do you know what I mean? That was my only scenario and everything. Like, if anyone asked me about it, I was like, well, I couldn't tell you, because I don't know the ins and outs. I wasn't there at that time. I wasn't involved in the gym. I didn't know what their relationship was like, but I know Ellie, and I know how hard she was training, and I know, obviously, just for stuff that was out of her hands, it's been taken away from her. But I think if you've just seen before, she's just had a new date announced, 10th of June. So it's like the other date didn't exist now. She's got her head fully focused on this one. So 10th of June it is.
She's someone I've followed since her very first professional fight. I think she's cracking talent, and I think she'll make a fantastic world champion.
Yeah, especially when you see what some of the level of some of the girls when they start off, what they're fighting at. Like, Ellie's went straight in with top opposition. Within a third fight, she fought for the first title. Fourth fight, she was fighting for the European. It went on like that, do you know what I mean? Fighting a former world champion, and then now in like a sixth or seventh fight, she's fighting for a world title.
Yeah, she debuted Beck Connolly, didn't she? I think.
Yeah, I think she did. She wasn't with us then, but I think.
Yeah, no, she wasn't.
She joined us on a second fight, yeah. So
yeah, I mean, Beck Connolly is the gatekeeper of that lower area of weights for the women, and to fight her in your first fight, because Beck is tough.
Honestly, she's a top talent. Honestly, she'll be a good world champion. She'll be an hard one to beat.
All right, Scott, you got anything to add on the?
I'm very, very happy the new date is set, because it could have got to like really bogged it down if you're not sitting around waiting. And I mean, it's a world championship fight. It would have been a good payday as well. People got bills to pay. And the fact that a new date is arranged, I think, is positive. And it sounds like Robbie, yourself, and the team have been really positive around her. So hopefully this is all be forgotten about this time next year, and she'll be world champion.
I'm probably the only one that hasn't been around her because I haven't been in the gym because of my leg. But I've probably spoke to her the most. You know what I mean?
Yes. Another bit of news in women's boxing that's just come out today. We're gonna have the first ever British title fight for the women. Lauren Price.
Oh yeah, and who's she fighting?
So I've got it here. I've literally just scrolled past it and completely forgotten the name of the girl. Kirsty Babington. She's going to fight Kirsty Babington.
What date's that set for?
That's on the Boatsi undercard on May the 6th.
Oh yeah. Well, there you go. There's another one. It's booming now. Women's boxing, isn't it? So just going from one step to another.
Is that your opinion with it, Rob? That it is just moving from strength to strength and it's good for the sport as a whole?
I think Katie's been carrying it for a while, but I think it's